What's up guys, welcome back to Jay on Film. I'm Jay and this is my life on film. In today's video we are going to talk about the 7Artisans 7.5mm f2.8 Fisheye Mark II for the Sony E-mount. This lens has really elevated my filmmaking, and here's how. You're bored? You're bored? You're bored? One, two, three, four. You're bored? Are you bored? Harvesting time! Look at that! Ooh, big! I was bored, but not anymore. I hope you all enjoyed that little short film because it was all shot on this little lens right here. This lens has changed the way I've approached filmmaking, and I'm so glad that I picked it up because it's my first manual focus prime lens and it was so cheap that I just had to go ahead and buy it. One of my favorite creators and filmmakers is Gaku, and he's based in Japan and he's a master at the wide shot. He has a video on the Samyang 8mm lens, which is what I was initially going to get, but I found the 7Artisans one for only 200 AUD. I've been wanting to get a fisheye lens from the start because I like how it looks and there's a lot of creative ways to use it. This lens is manual focus though, so adjusting to it was tough for me since it was my first time using one. But as you can see in the little short film at the start, I challenged myself by creating a video using only the fisheye lens. Everything was shot with the lens and it was a great way to practice my composition and framing. There were times where my shot was out of focus, but I'm happy with the final product. So what have I learned from using this lens? Well, firstly, the build quality is really good. It's made of metal, but it isn't too heavy compared to the kit lens that I normally use, and it feels sturdier and more durable. It also doesn't feel cheap like the kit lens does. Also, the aperture and the focus rings are quite smooth, and they're very easy to use as well. I personally really like how it looks because it's small and compact and perfect for traveling. Oh, and the lens cap is made out of metal as well, so you just slip it over and it'll protect it from any dust or fingerprints. The weight is also very good for vlogging because even though it's made out of metal, it's not too heavy. So you can hold it up all day pretty much. Speaking of vlogging, why don't we go for a walk? Alright, it's windy y'all, so bear with me if you can't hear the audio. But basically what I'm trying to say is I'm amazed at how wide this lens really is. So just for reference, I'm shooting on the 16mm right now, okay? And I'm gonna switch to 7.5mm and you guys are gonna see how wide it is. Ready? Okay, this is a 7.5mm lens. Look how insane the field of view is. Like, it reaches all the way out. So usually when I vlog, there are times where my framing isn't really that good. But since this lens is so wide, it captures everything. I use the Sony ZV-E10 as my main camera right now, and as you may or may not know, lighter cameras introduce a lot of shakiness. But this lens is quite stable for vlogging, and if you need to use active stabilization, well, the crop doesn't really affect you that much because of how wide the lens is in the first place. Okay, so this is without active stabilization, and let's go for a quick walk. It's really bright outside today, so just bear with the footage. I'll turn the brightness down in post. Okay, so this is with active stabilization, and as you can see, it did crop in a bit, but it's really not that bad. And the active stabilization is doing really well with the lens on. So yeah, right now this is the perfect vlogging lens for me, and hopefully I'll get some more opportunities to use it soon. The only thing that I need to work on doing is getting my manual focus on point. One of the cons of this lens is that you can't use an ND filter because it doesn't have a filter thread. And as you can see, shooting in broad daylight is a bit difficult. In the video when I was shooting my dad in the backyard, I had to bump my shutter speed all the way up to 1/200, even though I was already shooting at 24 FPS. And yeah, I think the max aperture for this lens is around f16. So that's also a downside, but I mean, we can work around it. To be honest, the difference wasn't that bad, but if you're looking for natural motion blur, then maybe shooting in broad daylight isn't the best idea. I've also noticed that shooting at higher apertures is much more beneficial for this lens. If you're having trouble with focusing, then a good tip that I have is to bump up your aperture to around f8 or higher. And as long as you're, I think it's a meter. Yeah, as long as you're a meter away, everything should be in focus. So that's what I do. But yeah, don't be afraid to experiment with the manual focus. Now let's talk about the wide variety of shots that you can take with this lens. I had a couple shots in mind for the video that didn't make it in, but I'll definitely use them in the future. This lens is amazing at taking establishing shots because everything is in view and it's so wide that you can't really miss a lot. In terms of medium and close-up shots though, you have to practice using your focus ring to manually get your subject in focus. In the video, I used a lot of whip pans and this lens came in clutch for those. A lot of my good takes didn't have me in the center, but I was able to crop in a little and center the footage, which was a game changer for me. Since I film myself a lot of the time, it can be quite difficult to come up with creative shots, but this lens has been a good switch up for me and it's worked really well with the limited equipment that I have. Anyways, POV shots look incredible with this lens because of the distortion, and that was what I had in mind when I was making the video. A shot that I wanted to use for the video was the worms I shot, but I wasn't able to fit it into any of the scenes. I did try it out though. Another shot that I know this lens would be amazing for is snorri cam. So I've actually used the kit lens for a snorri cam before, but I feel like this lens would be way more effective for that. I'll use it in a future video, so stay tuned. Next shot I want to talk about is the combination of a slow shutter and f2.8. It's an amazing combination in low light, and this lens is incredibly useful for getting those slow shutter shots. Honestly, I can't wait to test out the limits of my creativity using this lens, and hopefully I'll get some more opportunities to use it soon. Y'all, I just dropped my camera because this wind is too strong, but yeah, that scared me for a bit because I thought my camera broke. Anyways, back to what I was saying. Would I recommend this lens to beginners? Well, yes and no. If you really like the fisheye look, then yeah, why not give this lens a go? Especially as a beginner, learning manual focus is a great way to improve because it challenges the way that you approach shooting. But since this lens is so unique, I would recommend getting something a bit more versatile in terms of a camera lens. When shooting faces, the distortion, it can be a bit crazy and not everyone likes the way it looks, so you have to take that into consideration as well. This is also a lens built for APS-C cameras, so if you have a full frame camera, then unless you use APS-C mode, there's going to be some, well, not some, but there's going to be a lot of vignetting in your video. But other than that, I'm looking forward to using it much more in the future and integrating it into the gear that I have. I haven't tested it out for photography just yet, but based on my experience with it for video, I feel like it'll do amazing at shooting stills too. Alright, let's head home because I don't want to risk dropping my camera again. Alright, we're back home, so let's continue with the video. As for the next lens that I want to get, I'm thinking of getting the Sigma 30mm prime lens because I've heard that it's really good for beginners, and yeah, I want to upgrade from my kit lens. One day, I'll get the 24-70 G Master and upgrade to a newer camera, but for now, I'll just work on my filmmaking skills instead. Alright everyone, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and feel free to say hi in the comments below. I'll see you all again next week. God bless you and peace.